Hey. Should I put you up a little higher? All right, well, we're just going to roll with this. Okay. Um, you ever those days that you got to get stuff done? You just have to get stuff done. You do not have a choice. You're on deadline. People expecting it. You have to do it. So today, just setting up my tiki talk. It's just one of those days where I feel like I'm just running and running and running. But you gotta get shit done. So welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm spiritual coach Ari Mac. I've helped hundreds of people connect to their higher power using my tips, tricks, suggestions with affirmations, aromatherapy, and astrology. Now, one of the reasons why I call myself is affirmation or astrology manifestation expert, because if I can look in your chart and you have a particular goal, we can align you with making that happen. Yeah. You just have to be ready to do whatever it is that you say you want to do. And that means creating that mental space and that spiritual space to allow this energy to come in. Now, it's not easy. That's why I've been working with clients for over 15 years, 20 years. But I have to say that my people grow. They get better, they get stronger, they are more at ease with themselves. And that's the goal, really. My goal is to spread light. I'm also a candle maker. Aromatherapy is my jam. I use soy candles, pure soy, and we only make them as you guys order because it's a specialty. I'm a specialty. I'm not like you can go to the store and just get a candle. My candles come with affirmations on them, a lot of particular scents, colors, fragrances, and I've spent many, many years studying this. So if you want more information, please go to candlesbyari.com. Look at my information. Look at the color fragrance page. It explains my interpretation of colors and helps you get on the way. Okay? Today, I'm going to start a candle a little bit. Today, I want to talk about karma. Do you believe in karma? I'm just asking in general. If you want to chime in on the chat, I'm live on TikTok and YouTube right now. Karma. Do you believe in it? Do you know what it is? Trust it? Anything? Make sure you're drinking your water. We are in a Gemini cycle, which I'll talk more about in a little bit. So you're going to need to stay hydrated because it's a lot of information disseminating right now. You also have to verify your information. That's always the interesting part because sometimes people are really good at following up and doing their paperwork. Sometimes not so much. So just make sure you are doing the best you can to put everything in writing for yourself so you can remember what you did, because there's way too many things going on right now for us to hope that we understand. Hey, Miss Naima, how are you doing? I know you're on a special journey right now, and I salute the divine in you while you continue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because see, like my friend Nye over here, she's doing self-care right now. Mm-hmm. She's taking her own personal sabbatical, and I admire that. I love that. I think that's what we should do. We show our ass before you show your ass and you start saying things and doing things you can't take back. And you know what? You may not even give a about taking them back. That's how serious it is. And karma, you guys, karma. See, karma is that energy you put out and that you receive, and potentially it can be defined as your previous lives. Now, I operate more on divine design, which is in co creation with the universe as we speak, which means if you've done something in the past, let's say unsavory, let's just say you hurt someone and you did it intentionally. Okay. Not unintentionally, not innocently. Your ass did that shit on purpose. Okay. So, of course, you're going to have to heal from that and process why was I doing that? But the other side is someone may come along and do the same goddamn thing to you. Yeah. And that's going to be your karma. Now, you can take that two ways. You can take that as you're cursed, which is, hey, it's your problem, if that's how you want to think of it. Or you can take it as, let me learn this lesson. Let me retract, retreat. Because if something keeps happening to you, you also are contributing to it through your affirmations that you're saying to yourself. And I know because I've seen it. I've witnessed people say the most craziest shit. And I have been one of them. I am not excluding myself. When you're upset, when you're not in the right frame of mind, when you're pissed off at the world and you don't know how to self soothe, you can create some karma there. Like the owls, he's very handsome. Thank you, random things. It's just something I keep up there. I don't even know why. It's just something cute. Anywho, what I do is try to help you co-create this divine design because you do have choice. The universe is not here to torture you. It's not here to make your life complete hell. But you may have to learn some lessons and you may have to own some of the choices that you've made and maybe why. How about that? Why you keep making those choices? See, there's a thing in astrology that kind of breaks down the dichotomy of the different ages and where you should be astrology wise and where you could be. Neither one of those places is a guarantee because it's all mental on the game you play with yourself. For example, you may feel like you should be the captain of hamburgers. Let's just use hamburgers for example. But there's tons of people who make hamburgers, including people in the private sector. What's going to make your hot dog stand out or hamburger stand out differently than others? See, that's where you have to come up with something that helps you with your divine design that keeps you moving toward your karma. Because, the journey may be where you're at, or you could be like a Ray Krabs, no, Crocs, the guy that actually took McDonald's to the next level. There was a McDonald's brothers at one point. You guys can fact check this. Okay. There's always positive comedy. It's up to you and where to create. It's true now. There is always positive, but sometimes you're creating negative because you're in a dark space or you're tripping. Okay. But going back to my point, the guy that ended up taking McDonald's to the next level because the McDonald brothers sold it to him for a crazy amount of money. Okay. He became the number one hamburger person in the world by creating franchises which didn't exist before him. I mean, there probably was little bitty things with families, but he took it to the next level. So his dream was to be the best in his industry, and he was king of the hamburgers. Now, he could have been in his chart something about meat or produce. Who knows? What I'm saying is you got to take that energy and you got to work that energy and you got to create that energy that you're asking for. And that's divine design. That's why people pray. That's why we meditate. That's why we chant. That's why we do yoga. That's why we do meditations. All of these things are there to self-soothe you and to calm you. Now I'm going to start a candle because I need my own self-soothing. Woo! Well, this is a custom candle. This is the colonial blue with the vanilla white. Mm. Mm. Got it. That smell of vision. Yeah, but you need to go to Candles by Ari and check this out. Because if you learn how to use your senses, right? Touch, smell, sight, feel, you can actually help self-soothe yourself and maybe not wreck yourself. Like knowing when to take a personal sabbatical. Yeah, knowing when to back up. Well, right now we're at the halfway point of this year. Halfway point. Literally. Not even figuratively. We are literally at the halfway point. So this is a good time for you to check in on your goals to see if they're in alignment with your joy, your happiness, and your own divine path. Is that something you're digging on? Are you going in the direction you're going in? It's really important for you to tune in to self, especially right now. In the astrology world, keep up with me, keep up with me. We got Mercury in Gemini, Sun's in Gemini. Happy birthday, Geminis. Venus in Aries, Mars in Leo. There's a lot of fire, a lot of air, sextiling. Jupiter also in Gemini. Saturn in Aries. Finally gave Pisces a break, huh? But it's going to do a retrograde. Neptune in Aries, another fire. And Pluto in Aquarius going backwards. So that information to me says it's time to do some deep diving in here to figure out what's going on in that soul of yours. What exactly have you accepted as being normal or healthy, or didn't do your own homework on? I do think mental illness is a strong thing that's happening because everybody has a vision of what they want. And even now, with me being on the internet right now, this very second, I'm transmitting all over the world to you guys that are listening, and the repeat people who thank you, listen and re review this later. I mean, the power that the universe is giving us to connect is awesome, but you got to know how to use it. You got to know how to balance it, and you got to invest in it. And that's investing in yourself. Now, I've watched karma over the many, many years of me walking on this planet, and I've seen her. I've seen it. I've seen them in good points and bad points, because it just depends on your soul's journey, guys. Nobody, judges anybody. But I've seen people affirm for things and that they did not really want. I've done it myself. That's why when I'm very upset and I know that I'm not in a good space, I hush. We call it shutting the fuck up in my house. Okay? Because you need to just. And my grandmother told me, she was very clear with me as a little girl. If you got nothing to say that's nice, then just don't say anything. And that is such a beautiful rule. I was very blessed and fortunate to have her in my life, to just have that wisdom, that seasoning, that patience, that true motherly, nurturing love that I know a lot of people don't get as their young people. Because 0 to 5 is where everything's downloaded, right? Good or bad. So I was fortunate to have a lot of loving energy around me, which made me feel safe in talking about the little things that I kept picking up that nobody else was talking about, and I was just very observant. And my grandma just told me not everybody is going to be paying attention like that. And sometimes people's truth is skewed because they are at a different point of view. And is that not true? That sometimes we have to stop and put ourselves in someone else's shoes so maybe we can see things just a little differently for understanding purposes? Because if you never learn how to understand anything, you're going to stay in the doom of repeating the same shit over and over and over again. And that's fine if that's your jam. Like, if you don't mind and you're not going to make everybody crazy because, and that's how you want to do it. And people allow it, and they don't trip about it with you anymore. They just accept that's how you're going to do it. Are you going to be okay with that? Because, see, the people that love you, even they don't agree with you, will respect your opinion or respect your choices, which I know it's hard. I know it's hard. But when you learn to affirm, you can affirm something good for them. That's divine design. That helps balance out that karma. Because they could be just in a dark space. We go through processes of depression, people. And I'm not saying like long term depression, but sometimes things just don't work the way you planned. They just don't. And you've made every effort, you've done all the attempts, and you just, and you're talking in another language. Been there, done that. I try to get through that neighborhood faster because it's just a pill. Staying in frustration and anger will only serve for you to stay in frustration and anger. Okay. It's not going to help you move forward until you're ready to own responsibility of what is that you're trying to allow in your life. Myra, I can't answer that question because I don't have enough data. I would suggest you go to my website and download some affirmations, and then I'll put you in the cycle to get more information out to you because that's I can't answer that question. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, we have a lot of air and a lot of fire. What is fire and air? They combust. They work very well together. That's our thoughts and our actions. So, what are your thoughts and your actions at this time? Are you comfortable with the choices that you're making, or you're having major anxieties? You know, like what's triggering you? What's putting you over the edge right now? Because the Gemini energy with the Aries energy is duality. Because Aries is going to keep moving. That's what they do. Gemini wants to know everything. So you're moving with a lot of information, but are you moving with intent on using that information for your divine good? Your karma, as we put it. See, karma can be a good thing. You may have been here if you just believe in reincarnation. You may have been here before in a different time, but with the same people. You know what I mean? Like you were fortunate to feel safe. And so your life then was good. You could have been born. I remember reading a story about this lady who hated, she had a big obesity problem, like major, major, major obesity problem. And just had a lot of problems being around people that looked really good. She just had a lot of psychosis. Anyway, the doctor did a hypnosis session with her. And in one of the sessions, she recorded saying that she was an athlete in Athens and she was in perfect shape. And that was the best life she ever had because she got to perform. She was treated like royalty and she was athletic. And for some reason, in this lifetime, or in the lifetime that the doctor was writing, she did not have the same disciplines. So her life was out of order because she felt like her body was out of order. That don't isn't that a universal thing? That if the body's out of order, the mind's out of order, and then everything goes. That's why I'm always encouraging you guys to drink your water, man. If you can't do anything else, just get into drinking your water. Okay? I know. I use bottles, but I also recycle. So I feel really good about that. All right? But I'm just saying, energetically speaking, the power of your words and your affirmations to yourself is so mind blowing. It is mind blowing that the level of what you say that could come to pass, especially when you say it with such an intent that's just so intense and so. I don't know if y'all remember Carrie because I know it's a franchise by now, but that girl had so much going on with her. She flipped out and took the whole school with her. Okay. And I think it had a lot to do with her faith and trying to be a faith and then, snapping. And then, like I said, she took the whole damn school with her. She flipped the back out. And I think energetically, we don't do it at a carry level, but we can do it in a personal level by saying and doing things that'll come back and then bite us in the ass. But it's our own karma because we knew better, right? But we didn't do better. We did the same thing we always done. See, that's where that whole self-soothing, that aromatherapy starts kicking in because you got to start doing stuff to reprogram that mind. That other energy may still be there. There's no guarantee it's going to go away. But once you learn how to flow with your divine design, even when stuff goes south, and it's nothing to do with you, it's just sometimes things happen, circumstances, events, life, people we love go through changes, which puts us through changes because we love them. But you still have to have that level of protection and divine focus because things are going to keep coming. And you can't get worse and worse and worse. Otherwise, you'll be overwhelmed. And this whole thing called life is going to take you out real quick because you will create chemicals in your body that will cause other issues in your body. And it just becomes a snowball. Can I get a witness? I created the Guided Astrology Program to put out the information that I think spiritually we need. You know what I mean? Just to keep us in a positive spot. And that's the trick, isn't it? Isn't that the trick? Is keeping ourselves in a positive spot, okay, and center in our mind no matter what is tipping around. Because look, yeah, eating a salad is probably pretty good too. But learning to listen to your internal and still balance with this external, that's power. My friend's a teacher, and she told me a story about a young man who was born with a half a brain. Now, of course, they didn't know when he was born because they didn't have the medical technology, but his mom kept trying to push and push and push until like they actually connected with the doctor. Okay, here we go. So the energy around him told him he was a whole minded person. All right, the energy didn't tell him he could not do something. So he went to school, he learned how to function with his disabilities. And so when he finally got to the doctors, which I guess considered the better doctors, they were astonished that he had less than half his brain, which I'm not sure how much we're supposed to use at this moment. And he was operating with less than that. And guess what? He was functioning better than some people with all this shit working. Can you imagine that? Yes. Yes. Because his mother told him he could do it and he believed her. Why would he not? Why would he doubt the person who loves him, who's watching over him, taking care of him? Why wouldn't he believe that she's going to say the most positive things to him and he's going to receive it? And then he starts blessing it in his life because he wasn't limited. She never limited him. She never put straps on him, even though later she found out, like, trip out, he had half a brain. Get out. So whatever he did have, that was his divine design. He worked that puppy till he made that work on his karma. Like, all right, he definitely had some overcoming, like some overwhelming challenges, and he did it. Did it. Now that's a person with a major physical handicap. I know we got mental handicaps. I can see it. People that spend too much time by themselves, people that don't know how to stop eating inappropriate things. They just eat stuff to eat it. People that are addicted to alcohol, people addicted to gambling. I mean, we have chemical issues, and it's all because of dis-ease, like a disconnect within our bodies. So become abusive to our bodies, and we stop taking care of our bodies, and then the rest. See, divine design says when you're in co-creation, you are flowing with the energy that you need to flow. Like if you swim, how you get into a current and it just kind of takes you around. And if it's where you want to go, cool. Cool. Because we do have a little bit of a flow going right now with this fire air thing with all this Aries and Gemini, which is great. This is a really good time. If you have a long-term goal, sit down, write them down. I mean, really, really, really focus on what are you trying to manifest right now. That's why I'm suggesting you check out the GAP program and get yourself some candles because you're going to need light. You're going to need light. Okay. And that's not a hard thing to get. You can eat better. You can sleep better. You can get therapy in your local areas. I'm sure you have clergy. There's a lot of ways to reach out. Check out my site, my classes, my one-on-ones. But you have to participate. And that's the big challenge. You have to have that same routine that you have to get out and go out into the world to, take care of yourself or meet your needs, be it buying groceries or uh, shopping for cars or getting married. There's a need you have to meet, you go meet it, right? I'm always fascinated when people say they can't do something, but when they need to do it, it's not a problem. It's just like bing, and they handle it. So I always thought that was interesting. But when you learn how to stay in flow with your divine design, you can pretty much tune into your karma stuff. Like sometimes you just go, yeah, okay. Because maybe you don't really understand what just happened, but definitely it did happen. So, all right. And you don't get so worked up because that's the other thing. When you stay in a constant stressful physical manner, you're pushing your organs to the max on a regular basis. Like your organs do not get a break unless you pass out or go under anesthesia or some shit like that. That's not good. That's terrible. So you have to relax just to give your body a chance to recover and receive. hmm Yeah, because when you're sleeping, when you're in those deep, deep, deep sleep, and I got more of this in the manifestation boot camp that we're working on right now because this is phases. And to break it down, I'm giving you guys the overall smidgen on top, but to get into the nitties and the gritties, to look at your chart, to just talk about what's happening spiritually in general, that's how we create light. And if it makes you feel good on the inside, or you feel like you're making some improvements on the inside, that's how you know it's working. You have to look for where the flow is going for you. You have to look for where the energy is flowing for you. Because you may have an idea in your head. And sometimes we get very, very stuck in our heads despite evidence. It's something we committed to. We already like it. We're going to do it, which I guess is noble on some level that you want to commit and follow through. But you can't do it to your detriment. You can't do it to the point where it's just some sad shit. Quickly, I want to remind you guys that at Camp Aspire, we have Candle of the Month, okay? And each month I feature a color or scent that's available for this month on special. This month, for June, we're going to be featuring the Canary Yellow candle. Canary Yellow. Now, the thing about this candle, it's canary yellow with lemon verbena is the main ingredient, and then my own secret little, you know. But mm, this makes you literally pucker. You go, literally, because the energy in here is about communicating. It's about your seeing clearly what you need to get done, moving a lot of obstacles out of your way. Mm, So this is going to be featured for June 2025. So this is coming. I think it's on sale. I don't even know right now. And it's not because I forgot. It's just there's so many things going on with me. But it's going to be a featured candle. It will be on sale. And we are going to announce the meditation classes that'll be put up by Monday, Tuesday at the latest. Monday, probably. Because can you believe we're in the middle of this year? Wow. Yeah, it is your favorite. It's your favorite one? Okay. All right. Lydia, one of my long times, she knows that smell, man, it keeps that calmness going, guys. Keeps that, okay, all right. It's like knowing you're going to have a good meal. You just know one or two things today may go south, but you know what? This one doesn't have to. And you're thankful for it. Yeah, just like I'm thankful for a good meal. I'm so thankful when things work out. Like I do pray a lot. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I do pray probably all day, at least 5, 6 times an hour. I mean, please spirit, guide me, help, because I know how sensitive I am, and I don't want to go off script. I don't want to go on off the reservation. I'm good with the reservation. I want to flow with the reservation, and that's why spirit's asking me to do the stuff I'm doing and bringing the people that are in perfect divine order to help me, because no one person can do all this. No one person can, but a team can, and that's what I know I have in the universe. because everything I've asked for has come to pass. Every single thing under grace and perfect way. And I'm thankful. And I see it happening with my clients, family, and friends. But my personal goal is to create light in this world. That's why I do the candle thing. That's why I do the life coaching thing, spiritual life coaching. Created classes, programs now. These were all things that came in naturally, you guys. I just started off wanting to just help people understand how to just kind of cope with their charts because the chart don't lie. The chart tells a lot, but you got to know how to read it. And of course, you got to know what you're looking for. I'm a spiritual coach, so I'm looking for the stuff that's going to feed your soul, right? The stuff that's going to keep you moving toward a quality of existence that is fun and joyful. You don't have to be miserable and downtrodden. I mean, if that's your thing, cool. But the universe doesn't do that with us. That's not how they operate. They usually open doors where there is no door. They usually make a way where there is no way. And if you really stay in prayer, even if things look like they completely suck, there's always something that comes out of it that you would have never considered. Never, ever, ever consider. I am a walking, living testimony to that. Like, you think the most horrible things happen and how the heck you could ever recover, and you're just devastated. And then the universe comes along, and here's a whole nother level of stuff that you would not have seen if you had not gone through what you've gone through. Speaking of that, karma, let's talk. I want to share the story with you. It's on my TikTok. I think I reposted. So there was this African American lady, 78, mid 70s, early 80s. Mm. And her daughter got on TikTok telling her mother's story. It seems that her mom started a food truck. I'm thinking it's somewhere in the South. Don't quote me. Like I said, it's on the TikTok. And she put all her savings in it, and she was so happy to finally be able to do something for the community. And from what the daughter said, she was always a giver. This is the first time in her life she was doing something for herself. Do you know she got vandalized? Yeah, people came in and tore her up, spilled oil everywhere, just horrific. Broke her heart. The daughter got on, damn near in tears. I could feel the pain, and said her mother was devastated because she was so happy. And then this vandalism, this is demonic. It was just like, how can you do that to a person? Anyhow, her daughter put a GoFundMe together, and I think the goal was like 30,000 something. Maybe they got $90,000. That was just the energy. Okay. But even more importantly, the daughter came back and she followed up with a video showing how people in the community, and here's where the karma kicks in, came in and brought her supplies, tried to, fix certain things for her. But one person that came in was a grease specialist. Now, what are the chances of that? All the things happening in this world, this guy who happens to specialize in grease comes because everything was ruined because of the oil she used to cook, and they just anyway. He cleaned it so well. The mother said it was cleaner than when she bought it. So the daughter was back on to say thank you to whoever did that to her mother. Because the other video, she was holding it together. Okay. She was praying and holding it together. This one, she was like saying thank you because of your heinous act, because of your mistreatment of a good person. Not only is she rebuilt, she's rebuilt tenfold. So thank you. And I was like, because that's how karma works. That's how divine design works. That woman trusted and believed and did what she thought was right and was enjoying herself. And someone came along and did something so mean spirited for no reason. It was parked. She said it was where they're supposed to park their stuff in the evening. So I say this because, guys, you don't know how karma is going to work with you. But I can help you with the divine design because that's where you're in co creation. That's where you can ask questions. That's where you can, you know, put out what it is that you're asking for, and maybe realize that maybe you don't want it anymore, or things have changed, or you're wanting more. Who knows? But you have to get in there and start working on that energy, because that energy just doesn't happen. That's why when you see young stars or really talented people that have it together, they usually have someone or people around them that keep them focused, that keeps them centered. It's not an easy thing to keep yourself centered, let alone if you have another person, like a little person, that you're responsible for. So it takes a great amount of maturity, introspection, and perseverance, because you need to be honest with the universe so that the universe can honestly ask you. And that's tricky. That's tricky because that requires you to own what you're saying and not lie to yourself. We all have responsibilities, we all have choices. And if you can tune into making a better choice for you and being the best version of you, which is all that you can do. That's it. Just, but it's got to be sincere that this is the best version of you can do, then you can let go. Because sometimes, hey, we're in fantastic places and things are working. And then sometimes we need that extra inspiration. We need that extra little support, that little nudge, that little like, hey, how you doing? That kind of energy. And that's why I created the candles. I had clients that would come in and, you know, I could just feel their anxieties. And so I'd have something, candles or something like that going. And I used to give out crystals, but they got too expensive because I had a particular buyer and, things changed. But that's another way of also calming. If you can find a certain type of soothing crystal, those are also good for touch. Anywho, I just started making the candles for fun. They were just a hobby. It was just to dink around. Nobody told me, but I have an extremely sensitive nose and I'm a damn good cook. So that helped me get started because I knew what I wanted to go for. Like I knew the end results. I just didn't know how to get there. Anyway, went into a particular location here in Los Angeles that happened to be the biggest supplier on the West Coast. Ended up talking to the owner and learned a ton about how to make candles just from conversations, trials and errors, and just continue pursuing it. And then I just started giving them away. Why? Because it was something I felt like the universe wanted me to help people self soothe. And eventually someone wanted to purchase them, and the things kept growing. Now it's fortunate because it's something I'm passionate about and I enjoy doing. So it was an alignment. And when I realized it was light, like candles, and I was also putting positive energy out, which is another form of light, it was mind blowing. I was in deep meditation when that came through, and I was like, but that's how you know, because you start getting clarity. You start getting self soothed. Now, with Mercury being in Gemini, its natural position, remember, it's natural in Virgo and Gemini. One's Earth, which is Virgo, one's air, which is Gemini. And Gemini, you have a lot of luck because with Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, yeah, Jupiter and Mercury and the Sun all being in Gemini for the next couple of, I say, week or so, good times. Make sure you're using your time wisely. Also, make sure you're writing things down, Jim, because with the amount of stuff that you're doing, you could easily overextend yourself or make promises that you may not be able to keep. And then it causes friction down the road. So just write everything down so you have a clear picture of at least what the idea was. Okay. And guys, watch your affirmations. That's also another way of keeping your karma in check. Because if you're constantly saying something nasty about yourself and other people, that little smirky, snarky shit, just, and everybody does it. Everybody does. It depends on how much of it that you do. If you're a chronic kind of bitch, then you need to think about, what am I so pissed about? I mean, sometimes people find like personality habits. Like I know several people who act a certain way around certain people, and then they don't act that way anywhere else. And I'm like, why? And they said it's just a character flaw that when they're with that person, they feel like that's who they're supposed to be. Okay, it's not my place to judge. It just sounds, weird to me. But to each his own. Teach his own. So, but you have to learn to keep that flow no matter who you're with. And that's what the GAP program offers. It gives you that insight once a week video through Zoom for you to take a peek at, give you some updates, give you a little heads up, give you a synopsis, and then we're going to be having some other stuff happening behind the scenes as well. But like I said, one step at a time. And I'm really about making sure we do this right, we do this well, and you guys receive. That's like the most important thing for me is that you receive your blessings. You receive the understanding. You can see your life getting better because you want it to get better. I remember once upon a time I was in a family organization. I won't name it, but I was with them. And I just remember thinking, here we are, all one common thing was the kids. And I have to tell you, there was so much BS behind the scenes. And I was just like, hey, you know what? We just got to keep our heads straight till we get the one thing we need done. Now, I happen to be an artist, so I fell in love with one of the programs. So I went out of my way to support that and campaigned for it to grow during my time when I was working with them. And baby, 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 those kids loved it. I even put on a show. I got sponsors because that's my jam to let children shine at an art that they're interested in. There's nothing better. Nothing better. Anyway, I recently checked in, and that poor program just has suffered. I mean, it just has shrinked, and it was saddening to me. But the understanding the pandemic, all the things that's happened, but dang, that was a dang good program. And I was hoping that it would get sponsorship or someone else come on board, but they didn't. So it's one of those things that it takes a village. And I just remember being in that group, constantly having to stay in prayer because sometimes I didn't agree with everything they were doing, guys. And then I had to make adjustments because in order for things to change, you have to be a part of it. And I did move up and became an officer and all that good stuff, free of my time. It was all free. And I got a chance to really see the children. And I got to tell you, we got some brilliant little beings in this world, but they need nurturing. They need education. They need love. They need food. Hell, they need shelter. So wherever you can, when it involves a child, please try to give from your heart. Just something simple as a smile. You don't even have to give them money. But you'd be very surprised how a little kindness can make a huge difference in a little person's life. I know. I've witnessed it. The simplest things can make the deepest impact. That's why you don't need to make yourself crazy by being negative and saying negative things about yourself. Get some of my candles and learn to affirm better for yourself. I'm just telling you, it is so much easier to walk in light and flow in positive energy than to seek out crazy shit. Because crazy shit does exist. It does. It's coexistence in Doodooville and it's up on Shit Mountain. It's deep on the side of assholism. Anyway, I don't go there much. So I don't know the map that well, but I just know it's a lot of doo doo, and I try to keep it on the side. Plus, it's stinky, just stinky ass. Stink attitudes, just stink ass. So that's my interpretation of the negative energy in their side of the map. God bless them. Just bless you. Keep it to yourself. God bless you. So as you think about karma, I want you to think about where your karma is. Where's your divine design at? What are you trying to make happen? Do you want to improve? We're in the halfway point of this year. Stop, take a look at your goals. Are you anywhere near them? Or are you moving toward them? Maybe you need to revise them. Who knows? And take a mental sabbatical, like my friend over here. Sometimes you just need to go inward and chill. Now, I do offer a mindful guided meditation. You don't have to say anything. You just have to be on the link. And I guarantee you it will bring you center and balance and finding that quietness so maybe you can hear yourself think and make some better choices. Maybe. Not sure. Anyway, go to candlesbyari.com and check that out. Like I said, we're going to be announcing the meditation classes for next month. I'm not sure yet. I got a couple of dates and events coming up as well. Now, next month for Candles by Ari, we're going to be featuring the Yellow Canary candle, which is the yellow lemon verbena blend. Whew. Now, this is for communications, y'all. And since we're deep up in Gemini, take a peek. Take a peek. You want to go to my website and you want to check this out. I think it's on sale for $29.99, but don't quote me on that. Okay. And this one's the 12 ounce. They come in 12, 8, and 16 ounces. And it just depends on you how fast they burn, because this energy is just a flow. So wherever you are and wherever it is, y'all intersect and you work it out. But this is going to be for June. Like I said, we do have the GAP program. We just started it about a month and a half ago. It's doing very well. It's a Zoom link sent to you every week, breaking down what's happening in astrology. It's got affirmations, it's got some aromatherapy, and you can watch it over and over again. We will be having seminars and things like that coming up, probably starting in June, July. And it's only $9.99 for intro, 30 days. And if you don't like it, cancel. Otherwise, it's $29.99 a month, which is less than $10 a week. Come on, give me a break. And trust me, it's what I say to my clients, but it's in one shot. So if there's a retro coming up, or there's some weirdness with some planets, or maybe the moon's going to be going into a jack position, I just try to do a forecast. It's like a cheat sheet, like a weather forecast. You know how the weather people put out, hey, this is coming up. Well, this is my spiritual version for all the astrology world. Because if you have a little heads up, I'm not saying the rain's going to hit you, but you know what shoes to bring. Just saying, consider it. So definitely join my GAP program today. We are live at least once a week here on my YouTube. TikTok, I'm always jumping in and out. So, look for me definitely during the week and maybe one day on the weekend. But usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, guaranteed, I'm here. Like, follow, and subscribe. Can you do that? Can you like, follow, subscribe? And if you know someone that's looking for some positive info, check out my podcast. Now, here on YouTube, I just uploaded a 9-minute version of one of my podcasts. So if you have time, definitely subscribe and take a look at that. That'll give you a lot of insight. It's one of my other episodes, older episodes, and that's all carried on iHeart as well. So I want to say thank you for tuning into this episode of What is Karma? Do you believe in karma? Because I do. I think there's a reason why, if you're listening to any of my shows, then there is a divine design working its way through you. You just need to make sure you stay connected to that and you work through whatever it is you got to work through for manifestation to be complete. Okay? Spirit loves you. I adore you. I'm going to send you so much light and love, and I hope that you receive it. Okay? I hope you're open to just growth and not staying stuck, because you don't have to. I told you the story of the woman who literally lost everything after putting everything she had into a business that she was happy with. And by the blessings of the universe, people came through not only on her GoFundMe, but they came through with supplies. She had a grease expert show up to get rid of all the grease that these people destroyed her place with. What are the chances of that, you guys? Of all the places in the world. So miracles do happen. Okay, manifestation is here, but we got to make sure we hold that line, keep that attitude in check, and don't let the negative forces take you down, because they only could do that if you allow it. All right, and remember, would you remember that you're blessed? I hope so. All right, till we meet again, stay blessed. Spiritual coach Ari Mac. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, and be positive. Peace. Bye. Bye.